thank you for joining us for this evening event with Melinda Buie. We're really excited. I'm Maura Carlin. This is Christie Derrico, and we are the hosts of the Balanced Dilemma podcast. And if you're wondering what that is, we kind of like to think of it as a discussion that's somewhere between this American woman's life and how I built this. Our guests share stories about what works and what doesn't in finding some sort of balance to say, let's say, reasonably sane. As well as we explore societal issues and possible changes that need to be made to help us all.
Part of our platform is supporting women in all sorts of endeavors. Businesses, and you can see here, commissioning art. We've also had authors, women who have come up with products that start things that they sell, it might start in their home and go beyond that. We have some QR codes. If you want to scan these, we can pass this around. And you can find our platforms on our website, Insta, Spotify, and LinkedIn. Listen, rate us, share, and drop the sign. Correct. There we go. You can pass that around if you want.
Okay, so tonight is actually our second go-around with Melinda.
Right.
She was our guest on episode 24, which we highly recommend you all listen to, Apple, Spotify, and our website.
When you're trying to go to sleep.
And we, it's really a wonderful episode, and you can really learn about her. And you had some amazing stories that I still think about.
It was
to
great.
this day.
I listened to it.
Right? You know, I mean, a story from being 7 years old and how it influenced your college application essay.
It's true.
Okay, so really recommend it. We also did a salon here 2 years ago. And we hope that tonight's talk will also be an episode as close to number 70.
Ooh.
So we're getting there.
And it's so much more fun because nobody has masks.
Right, that's right.
The room was packed. Even in that environment, it was so much fun.
Yeah. So we hope you've had a chance to look around at Melinda's artwork. And we're going to have a chance to hear from her about it. And although she needs no introduction, she's going to get one anyway.
Okay, I like it.
Melinda grew up in East Texas, the daughter of an architect and an educator, and she spent much of her time on her grandparents' cattle ranch. And all of those things influenced her work, as we're going to hear about. She attended the University of Texas, Austin, right? And after which she made her way to the big city, and we're talking New York City, not Portchester. And she worked in art-related businesses to pay the rent, as artists do, and also continued to develop her work. And she said, I remember you telling us your greatest production is those two adorable boys.
Oh, right.
Okay?
Great when you quote me.
I'm all ready to go. Melinda's work's been shown in galleries actually around the world, and of course a lot in her home state of Texas. So, part of the reason we wanted to talk to you was that when we last spoke about your artwork, you had one style, the pop art, what you described as pop art, I might describe as Pucci-esque if you're into fashion, and you had architectural influences as well.
Right.
Let's talk about that a little because it affected your choice of colors and subjects, and then we're going to go into how it's evolved in these 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think since the last time that you were here, there's obviously a few examples of older work here, which is probably behind everybody. The blue one right in the middle is a couple of years, it's probably 10 years old now. It's evolved with, while I'm still painting cows, I've changed the backgrounds a lot and playing with colors, so the background actually becomes part of the painting much more than it was. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, so
is that an example?
whereas I used to do mainly color blocking, and I don't have a ton of examples.
And what do you mean by color blocking?
I mean, there's, yeah, like this would be somewhat of color blocking right here. You know, like just a basic background. So whereas now you're seeing a lot of tools being used in the background. I use scrapers, I use foam board, I've used everything. I use paper towels.
Magazines.
I use, yeah, this is a new piece. It's a collage piece. It's all from, it's a magazine called Texas Monthly, which is a great magazine. And then I drew the bull on top of it. So it's evolved with the background becoming a big player within the work, rather than it being just a background. So
We've also started including messages. Can you tell us about that and where that came from?
So I had a lot of these works up and they were older and I liked them, but I felt that they had they didn't do it for me that much anymore. And as I've told many people in the studio before, if I don't love something, I paint over it. So there's probably 6 paintings under a lot of these paintings.
How Michelangelo, right?
Yeah. If you just keep scraping. And so I decided I work with spray paint a lot, and I decided to do the stencils. And then I just did, basic text, like this one says, I need you. The comforts are dear friends that own one that says more love.
No. More ELO off.
More ELO off, yeah, exactly.
So wait, I'm gonna ask you about that, because why you break them up that way? You've got behind there BEWILDER, bewilder.
Right?
But you didn't break it up the way a wordsmith might have, be wilder.
I know, well, it's up to you to decide if it's bewilder or bewilder. There is a tiger behind that too, by the way. There's a big tiger. You see the eyes right above the D and the L? Thank you, Kiki, thank you. You're like a Vanna White back there.
You also have these squares that I noticed, that's in the painting that I got.
Yeah, so I started working a lot with grids. A lot of these have a base of a grid for the background. Like literally there is, if you're welcome to come up as close as you can get to these paintings. You'll see multiple layers of paint underneath. You can see there's scraping, like there's 6 colors of yellow in here, and it's a push-pull, you're scraping to get this final, that's the hardest part as an artist, is trying to know when you're done. So it's like a color extravaganza type situation. But yeah, it's fun to let it, and you also have to play with materials a lot. So these are oil and acrylic. So oils they stay wet for 2 to 3 days. So I can leave and I can come back the next day. Acrylics dry in 2 minutes. So if there's anything acrylic based, you've got to use it very quickly, which I like. I like the immediacy of it. So I can get a good background color very quickly, and then go on and apply the oil paints, which is what normally all the structures of dogs or whatever the subject is are.
So I know you had earlier paintings dealing with buildings like in Italy, but I love that you have these country-esque.
Yeah, I don't know. The
What
barns
was the
just sort
inspiration?
of. I've always loved barns. We have a couple barns on our property in East Texas. In fact, our house that my parents now live in, that I go home to, is based off of a barn. My father designed and built it, and there's just something about barns. So everywhere I go, we used to have a house in Roxbury, Connecticut, and on this drive I saw this barn every weekend, and I loved it. It's a horse barn in Brookfield on your way to Roxbury, and I finally just pulled over and took pictures of it because I loved it so much. And there's usually a horse peeping out right here, and the shadows. It's just a very dramatic, beautiful building. And I did not hit the deer. Somebody asked me. I did not hit the deer. The deer just came.
Was the deer put in after, or was this one you painted over?
After. It was after. Yes. No. This was, and I sort of love the juxtaposition. There's a art history word for you. If anybody ever, that's how you get through art history class. Just throw out juxtaposition. Right? But I love just the line drawing here. It's very sketched. This is how I draw all the beginnings of the paintings. They're all just very sketched out. I don't do a lot of sketches. I go straight to the canvas because I always find my first sketch is the best. So I want it to be on the actual canvas where I'm going to paint. So yeah, these are barns in Sharon, Connecticut that look literally like they were going to probably fall down. I hope they're still there. But they were green and blue, and truly those are I think I got pretty close to their true colors. I hadn't seen a lot of green barns or with a blue water tank. These 2 above are from Provincetown. I've had the what's the word? Pleasure. As I look at Megan, I've had the pleasure to go with Megan. Yeah, exactly. Juxtaposition, pleasure.
You're in a safe space.
Right, it's a safe space. It's a safe space.
Communal effort to speak.
Yes, thank you. So just from and a majority of these are from my photographs. I have buckets and bins full of photographs. Now I just kind of have them on my phone, but I did used to have them printed out, 35 millimeter. I would just send them in, and you never know what you got, which was always kind of fun.
Yes, you forget
Yeah,
that
you forget the kind of spontaneity and the excitement of getting your roll of film back.
So I have a question, something, I tend to be the one that deconstructs the guests that are artists or creators, because my question is, how did she do that? And how do you do it? You have 2 small children. Some of us who have an artistic side, it dries up when the kids are pulling at us and we can't find the space. What's your schedule? How do you come and create?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a better human when I can work. My kids know it now, finally, you know. I also don't train them up anymore. Yeah, apparently that's frowned upon. But I drop them at school, and then I head straight here, and I'm working 9:30, 10 until about 2 o'clock when I head back in. But I think the time constraint actually helps me focus, because I know I need to get stuff done. You know, a lot of this stuff, you know, I'm on the hook for. It's not just stuff I'm trying to sell, it's stuff that people have hired me to paint, so it is a job.
Which leads us
yeah.
to the next discussion, which is
Right.
talk about being an artist and also being an entrepreneur, because it is a
Yeah.
business.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's your business.
Yeah, I
And you
mean,
probably weren't trained for that.
no. But I have a fantastic accountant right
Oh,
over
yeah.
there.
But no
Dan
business-
Ginsberg.
No business
Yeah,
101
no,
and
I don't have, I mean, I've learned on the job, I literally have, and I've been doing this for a very long time. I would say within the last 10 years, my business has really elevated and it's taken off a lot more. But yeah, I have to treat it like a job. There's something about, it's not just all fun. It is fun. I love it. It makes me happy. But there's things to think about, like branding and marketing and all these things that I have no background in, but you learn on the job. So a lot of these things, you know, it took me 20 years to get here. And I feel very confident in how I do it. I think I'm on the cusp of maybe, you know, the next level of being, needing help. But between my kids' schedule and, you know, it's a lot to juggle. But I work a lot at home sometimes if I need to. Like if they're sick or something, I just work at home. I have a little basement that I can work in. But
I'm a little afraid of those oil paints.
yeah, I don't do oils at home.
Yeah.
I don't do oils at home. Just spray paints. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Melinda,
Yes.
how can people purchase or commission your artwork?
Yeah, I mean, so everything here basically is for sale. I don't know that anybody wants a painting of my son Bobby, but I personally love it. You're welcome. There's plenty of ways to contact me. There's my cell phone, I can do private tours if you'd like to come back and see things. But everything pretty much is for sale. You can call me, come back, send me a text.
Children too.
Oh, children too. We paint a lot here. We do a lot of that. Yeah. We do a lot of painting here.
And teaching.
And teaching. That's
Let's
right.
go.
I do. I have Maura's son and I had a good teaching moment. He was great.
Oh, yeah?
He was great. Yeah.
So we are gonna open it up to a few questions. So if anyone wants to ask Melinda or us anything about the balanced dilemma, have at it.
How about it?
I wanna ask about that piece up there with the bull, and also like your infatuation with bulls and
Okay, so
yeah.
the question is about the painting of a bull
Mhm.
and Melinda's infatuation
I know. Right.
with the bull.
I wish I had a great story, like I was run over by a bull or something, but I grew up just looking at these animals all the time. We would go out to my weekends to my grandparents' house, walk the pasture with my dad, and feed the cows. So it was part of my everyday. And I didn't start painting them until I got up to New York. I guess I missed them somehow. But you know, I have a whole thing with cows. People think they're dumb because they're a very ordinary animal and there's a lot of them. They're actually quite smart. They have relationships, they have feelings. Yeah. I've done a lot of reading on cattle. So they're actually and I find them beautiful. I mean, they're just like these architectural beauties. And then, you know, the longhorns, I mean, yes, I went to University of Texas, but that really doesn't have much to do so much with why I paint, you know, longhorns. I loved the actual lines of the horns.
Anyone else?
And
Sure.
How do you balance your desire to be creative with your own voice and doing commission work?
So it's half and half. Like whenever I know that I have a fair amount of commissions, it frees me up to, you know, I usually I kind of have a schedule. I come in and I do commission work. I always start with commission work because that's what I'm paid to do. And then I leave an hour for playtime.
But it doesn't impact it doesn't have an impact on your creativity.
No. No. I love the commission work. It's actually pushed me to do a lot of different things. I mean, I've done, you know, I love doing different kinds of work. I've been challenged in a lot of ways with figurative things, with different animals, pets, obviously. So it's a good push, you know, because you can get in the same, not rut, you can get in the same, you know, speed of just doing the same thing over and over again, which I clearly do. So I enjoy the kind of jumping around. So.
Yes.
Do you find people copying your work, and then do you find it a challenge sometimes, subconsciously or otherwise, like of copying some other work that maybe you have seen? Like, how do you guide interpretation?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely influences that I have, and I'm at night cruising Instagram. I follow so many artists, and you know, like what, you know, hopefully we're all just kind of collaborating. I don't have a problem with somebody copying my work. It has been a problem before, and there's been copyright issues, but you know, it's like me getting a lawyer to deal with it is not worth, no offense, a lot of money. If I just knew a judge.
They've made your pictures into wallpaper?
Yeah, no, well, that I licensed out. So a lot of it, that's a great question, actually, Greg. A lot of it I've given permission to, so I've received royalties. Like, there's wallpaper that has been made of a couple of my paintings that's a wallpaper company out of Dallas. And I think it's in a couple bathrooms in Highland Park, Dallas, which is great. Interesting. Nice bathroom, nicer than my home, probably.
There's a theme on bathrooms, because I'd like you to share a story that you shared with us on that
Oh,
podcast.
God,
about
Maura, where's my wine?
I know, I'm
Seriously.
You know, I do have the transcript.
Oh, God, are we talking about what?
No, but you had donated a painting to an auction.
Oh, that one.
Fundraiser.
That one. I thought the other one was great.
The other one sounds
Yeah,
more
no,
interesting.
I'm kidding, yeah. Yes, I donated a painting for a kid, like a private school in New York, I can't remember which one, Grace Church School in the city. I donated a painting of a cow photo, it was a photograph about 20 by 24, it was a beautiful cow, and I didn't go to the actual party, but I heard it sold, and they sent me the bid sheet, which I thought was great. It was actually, you wrote it out, so I'm reading it, and then I see that the actual person who bought it was Tom Colicchio, whose kids had gone to that school. So I all of a sudden thought that I was hot shit. So I called him naturally, and he didn't call me back, but I did go to his steakhouse. So, and I went to Craft Steakhouse, which had just opened. I don't even know if it's still there. I went with a friend, and I'm looking around, and I don't see it anywhere. And I was like, oh, went to the ladies' room, and then my friend was like, let's check the men's room. So we walked straight into the men's room, and there she was. So, but hey, it's there, and people have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know, so it worked.
And it was a bull?
Man,
What's that? It was a bull. Yeah, it was a bull. It was great.
Virility is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's your signature? What am I doing?
On the back. I don't sign on the front. I don't like to see signatures. I like to see just the surface, just the painting, so everything's signed on the back.
Do your boys share your talent?
Yes, my younger son loves to color and draw. Yeah. My older, he's good for 5 minutes, but my younger Bobby will sit, and he actually's, I think quite good. But I'm biased. But yes, they do. They love it. We do a lot of art projects. A lot.
All right, expecting to see it.
Yeah.
How long does it take for you to make a painting, like, for example, that?
Yeah, so I usually, like for a project, I usually say 2 months or so.
2 months.
I can obviously, I can expedite up upon certain demands, but like usually 2 months is a good start to finish for me. Which I think is probably a pretty fair time for a painting. It depends also how big. But yeah, about 2 months is kind of my turnaround time.
Melinda,
Yeah.
a commission takes you 2 months also?
Yeah.
I'm curious
Really?
how long
Wow.
you and my wife kept
I
the
was,
secret.
well, Dan, got a lot of secrets from you. No, we had to get the right photo of her, and, so it took a little while. But yeah, we conspired for a while. She came here twice. Yeah, it was great. It was
So the
nice.
trip comes
And it is fun to actually collaborate on any commission, like a lot of it. Like for instance, this is, This building right here it's a church in Tuscany where friends of ours' brother was married, and they're gonna send this to them as a wedding present.
Oh, that's
And they gave feedback on it and kind of like, what it was really like, and from a photo, because the photograph was sort of a little drab, but anybody that's been to Tuscany knows that there's a lot of great colors there, and I wanted it to be a little bit more romantic since that's where they got married. So yeah, it's fun to collaborate. It's fun. I mean, I
I
really,
have a question.
yeah.
About collaboration. So there's a painting here that anybody can see on the postcard. And I know that person you told me just gave you like a list of 5, 6, 7 things, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you like doing that? This is new for you. This
Yeah,
kind
so
of-
that was a good turning point for the work too, I think. This is a painting at the bottom, yeah. I wish I still had it. I'm glad she has it, obviously. I can't get it back. It's a big painting, so it's basically this size but horizontal. And it's a woman in Florida, and she gave me a couple things that she thought of. It wasn't necessarily a checklist as it was just ideas to think about. So she wanted a swimmer, and she wanted this garden type feeling, and she loved birds. So I just incorporated kind of everything. And what I love about that painting is you can read it anyway. It reads vertically, it reads horizontally, you read in a circle, you can kind of just follow it around. Anywhere you kind of zone in on that painting, there's something going on. And there's little hidden secrets in that painting too. There's like little, there's like a bird popping out that you can't see.
Hey
So.
Melinda, this is about balance, so any tips and tricks for those of us who are completely out of balance that you would want to share?
I don't know that I'm in balance. No, I don't, I think we were talking the other day, Christina, I don't sweat a lot of the small stuff. If I mess up, it's okay. I'm gonna paint right over it, we're gonna move on. And that sort of translates to how I parent, how I live, everything. It's sort of, my kids can be a disaster, but tomorrow's a new day, I come in here, sometimes it doesn't always work. Look, you guys are seeing what I want you to see. You're not seeing
What's in
flops,
there?
you're not seeing a lot of the good, a lot of the failures, because I either paint over them. And there's also a lot of I have so many older works in here that I pull out, and it's so great, and I'm so glad I didn't paint over them, because it's a reminder of not only of what I was doing then, but where I've come.
Yeah.
And then there's something really beautiful about seeing an older work, and all the things that have happened in between that painting and this painting. So when I have my retrospective at MoMA, hopefully
Yes.
you'll all say, yes, there you go. I'm gonna speak it into existence. I think Oprah told me that. Yes.
You are a person who says yes to things.
I do say yes.
So is there anything where you have said yes and the result was so great that it shocked even you?
Yes, this painting right here, the one that Marina just asked about, yeah.
Yeah.
I said yes, it was a great job. I'm not gonna lie, I have to make a living, right? And it was a nice size painting. I'm clearly a vetted client, and I knew she wanted it, and we've Zoomed probably once a month. That painting actually took me a lot longer. She was in no rush, I was in no rush, and I wanted to get it right. So that took probably a better 6-7 months, but she wanted me to take my time with it, which was good. It went through a lot of iterations.
Teresa, you have a question?
Yeah, going off what you just said before, that I do not paint, but I'm wondering in your process where you're going in, whatever your process may be, that you give yourself the space to get to a point where you say, this isn't working.
Mhm.
And what do you tap into in yourself to give yourself the grace of growth?
That's a great question. I guess I'm pretty prolific. So when I start working if I feel like it's not going well, I move to the next one, and something changes. I think, I hope I haven't made my best painting. I think I've hopefully got many more years to paint. So I'm always excited about what's going to happen next. I'm clearly not bored yet with cows or buildings or people or dogs. So overall, I'm very happy that I have something that I love this much. So for growth, I hope I keep growing. If you don't, you're sort of dead in the water there. Yeah.
Any
So.
other questions? Because
It was a
we'd
great
like you to
question.
be able to look around, have some food, enjoy yourself.
Yes.
Thank you, and listen to our podcast. We love ideas. If you have something you'd like to hear, we've had so many great women and men, but the ones who've created something or have reinvented themselves, those are our favorite stories. We love every episode.
Right, so maybe you know somebody, or you want to be on the show, or you have an idea for a guest, or you have an idea for a topic. Let us know, because we're open to all of that. And thank you.
Yeah, you guys,
for
thank
opening
you.
your
Oh my God,
studio
thank
to
all of you.
everyone.